Hello, welcome back to Walk the Walk, but first let's talk. I'm Dr. Beth Wilson, and today I wanted to do something a little different and come up with a topic that may interest people because of the new movie out, The Joker. So today I'm going to talk about diagnosing the Joker. After the movie, that was a common question I got from a lot of people who went and saw the movie, and so of course my brain started going, and I thought that would be something fun to talk about. If you have not yet seen The Joker, I may give a little too much information and I might give some things away. So you might want to see the movie first, but if it's something you're not interested in seeing, then of course go ahead and watch this video through in its entirety, because I do think some of the information could be interesting, and it's just for you all just to learn a little bit more about mental illness, how it could be developed and how it could be seen in other people. So the first thing about the movie, it talks about the Joker having a medical condition. And I love how the movie kept it vague. They did not go into detail. They didn't let you know what it is, but you knew he was different. And so the first thing I did, of course, when I got in the car is Google a condition where you laugh uncontrollably. And so I found that he suffers from pseudobulbar effect, which is a condition where you can laugh or cry uncontrollably, and you just cannot control it. You don't know when it's going to happen. And of course, in the movie, we see for the Joker that it happened at some of the most inappropriate times, and at times that led to very difficult situations for him. So another thing in the movie, we learned some about his background, about some trauma and some abuse that he went through. We can say that the pseudobulbar effect is because of that trauma that he did experience. And we also know from the movie that his mother did suffer from some mental illness. And though we know she's not his mother, spoiler alert, we know that the environment that he was raised in did affect the development of some mental illness within him, and the abuse that his mom allowed to happen to him also led to some of the tendencies and some of the issues that he had. So when looking at the Joker, I have really struggled with identifying if he's a sociopath or if he's a psychopath. When looking in the psychological realm, all psychopaths are sociopaths, but not all sociopaths are psychopaths. So when differentiating between the two, a psychopath is born. It's a genetic thing, it's innate, it's inside of them, and it's who they are. A sociopath is someone that's developed. So the environment that they're raised in, the different experiences that they go through, and a lot of times trauma and abuse lead to the decisions they make and lead to them being a sociopath. So for the Joker, I do lean more towards him being a sociopath, just because we do know his history. We know that he was abused. We know that he did have head trauma. We know that he developed a medical condition because of that trauma. And we also know that the environment he was in was not safe or healthy because of the diagnoses of his mother who raised him as well. Also, with a sociopath, one difference between that and a psychopath is that sociopaths can develop bonds and relationships with some people. And I do believe in the movie they did a great job at portraying the good relationship that he did have with his mother. Though it did not end well, it was a relationship that he nurtured, and he was there for her. He bathed her. He did so much for her, and you could see that he truly cared for her. One thing with a sociopath is they do tend to act impulsively. They do tend to get angry. So with him to find out truths about his history and about who his mother is and that whole situation, it definitely could have led him to act impulsively and lead to the outcome with that relationship and what he did to her. We also see a relationship with a coworker. In the movie, there was one coworker who he brutally killed in his apartment while another coworker stood and watched, but he allowed the other man to leave his apartment. He even joked with him as he left. When he went to unlock his door for him, he kind of nudged at him, and man, I'm just playing. Bye, have a good day. So his temperament became more normal, though there was a slaughtered man laying on his floor and he had blood all over him, but he had mercy on somebody else. So that to me shows that that man did nothing wrong to him, and there was some type of bond he could form with him because it was a more positive relationship. We also see the situations that happen around him. A lot of those people bully him or do things to him or others around him that lead him to reacting in the way that he does. So that's my reason for leaning towards the Joker being more of a sociopath than a psychopath. A lot of people ask if I think he's schizophrenic and suffers from schizophrenia. I do not. When looking at the symptoms and what we see, and because of his past, a lot of the differences and changes in his demeanor and his personality throughout, I do not think he was schizophrenic. What I came up with was a bipolar 1 disorder with a rapid cycling of his mania and depression. With rapid cycling, it means that an individual will experience mania and depression at least 4 times within a year. We saw this happening over and over throughout this movie. And so we know that he did suffer from times where he felt more down, but also from the mania. And I also do believe that he has psychotic features, which this is the delusions. This is him just not being connected with reality, him hearing and seeing things that aren't really there. And one part of the movie with him running as fast as he could with a bag in his hand, and I'm thinking, no one's chasing him, what's going on? And that's when I knew there was the psychosis there too. And of course other stuff happens in the movie for you to know that he may see and hear things that are not part of reality and that are not truly happening to him. And so I also, of course, believe that he's a sociopath, as I explained. And then last but not least is his medical condition of the pseudobulbar effect. And that's clearly something that he suffers from, and that because of that condition, it leads to very, very uncomfortable situations for him, to where in the movie when things are happening to him, it could kind of make you take a breath and make you look at how bullying and how the impact of society affects the development of somebody. So the movie's good. One of my favorite parts of it is when the Joker is journaling and he puts, the worst thing about having a mental illness is that people expect you to behave as if you don't. That is huge insight into mental illness. We have children sitting in a classroom with a teacher who is going to tell them over and over to be quiet, sit still, focus, look at me, don't get out of your desk, when they may be suffering from something that they cannot control. There are constantly situations that are happening around us within society where we expect someone to control their impulses and control their anger and control the things that are within them, when they have not the ounce of control of the things happening around them, which are impacting their daily living. So one thing I do want people to take from the movie is to have remorse, to show grace, and to show mercy on those who are suffering from mental illness, because it is real. And even in the movie, the Joker clearly knows he struggles. He told his social worker, I think I need to increase my dose of medication. And she looked at him and said, well, you're on 7 different medications. What are we to increase? What are we to do? Where also in the movie we see how government and things get involved and he loses his care and his support. And that's when we see a big change and a turn of events. And this does happen to those around us. And it's not something we wish on people. It's not something that is a planned event. But as his social worker said, people don't care about us. And unfortunately, those who suffer from mental illness truly feel people don't care about them. And that's when it could lead to self-harm, to suicide, to having to take their anger out on others around them in hopes that they could just feel a bit of what they feel on the inside. It's a great movie. I do suggest people go see it. I think it's a great insight to mental illness. You may not be in agreement with the diagnoses I come up with, but I did do a lot of research and just tried identifying to see what I could link him most to. Of course, I did have to rule out PTSD because we just don't have enough information to know if he suffers from nightmares and different traumatic things like that. But it was great. It was a fun project, and with Halloween just a couple days behind us, I thought it would be a good thing to cover. And it's great that here within the Clover community, Thrive Family Services does have amazing support from the school district and from the administrators and teachers within every school within this district, and also from the mayor of this community, who are in great support of lifting the stigma that's related to mental illness and helping people take that first step towards healing. And I am very thankful, and I thank you all who are maybe watching this video for being part of this process and of this journey with Thrive Family Services and helping those within our community and the communities that surround us. So thanks for joining me on Diagnosing the Joker. Don't forget to check us out at www.ithrive.net. You can learn more about what we're doing at Thrive Family Services, as well as learn more about myself, Dr. Beth Wilson. And you can also follow us on social media, Instagram and Facebook. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Walk the Walk. But first, let's talk. See you next time.